Hi everyone, this is Mr. Moyo and welcome to another episode of MoyoMath. In today's video, we'll be looking at Algebra 4, and the objective of today's video is to look at the substitution of numbers for variables in an algebraic expression. But before we get into that, don't forget, if you are interested in doing math or Add.Math lessons with me, you can contact me at the number above, 1-868-718-1104. That is 1-868-718-1104. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So let's get into it. So the objective of today's session is to look at substitution of numbers for variables in an algebraic expression. So we would have, if you look at my video on an algebraic expression, we know that an algebraic expression will comprise of terms. 3a is a term, negative 2b is a term, plus 4c is a term. But sometimes we are asked to find the value of this algebraic expression comprising of 3 terms. So to find the value, normally you will be given a value for a value for b, and a value for c in this case. So a is equal to 2, b is equal to negative 3, and c is equal to 4. So how are we going to find a value for the algebraic expression given the value for a, b, and c? So it's a simple case of we are going to replace a, b, and c in your algebraic expression with the numbers given. We know a is equal to 2, we know b is equal to negative 3, and we know c is equal to 4. So we're going to replace a, b, and c with the numbers given. So how do we replace? So we use brackets to replace or substitute those variables with numbers. So where I saw a, I replaced a in the algebraic expression with 2, and I ensure 2 is placed within brackets. Where I saw b in my algebraic expression, I replaced b with negative 3, and of course negative 3, it is placed within brackets. Where I saw c in my algebraic expression, I replaced it with 4, so I'm going to place 4 in brackets. Keeping in mind, brackets implies multiplication. So we replace the variable with the number given, but that number is placed within brackets. So otherwise known as substitution. We substitute the variable with the given numbers. So to remove our brackets, we're going to multiply 3 outside by 2 within, so 3 by 2. We're going to multiply negative 2 outside by negative 3 within, so that's negative 2 by negative 3. We're going to multiply plus 4 outside by 4 within, and when we simplify, 3 by 2 will give us 6. Negative 2 by negative 3 minus by minus is a plus. 3 by 2 is 6. Positive 4 by positive 4. A plus by a plus is a plus. 4 by 4 is 16. And of course 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 16 gives us 28. So the value for our algebraic expression is 28. We have another example. Given p is equal to, we have some examples. P is equal to negative 3, Q is equal to negative 2, and R is 5. So they want us to find the value of the following algebraic expression. So let's go through this together. So we have here 1. We have the algebraic expression negative 4p minus 3q minus 9r. So where I see p, q, and r in my algebraic expression, I'm going to replace them, or I'm going to substitute for those variables with numbers given. And when I'm making that substitution, or I'm replacing these variables, it's important for me to use brackets. So this will be negative 4, and I'm replacing p with negative 3, so I place negative 3 in brackets. This is negative 3q. I'm replacing q here with negative 2, so I make sure I put negative 2 within brackets, of course negative 3 and negative 2 within brackets. I have negative 9r, so I'm replacing r with 5, so I maintain my negative 9, but I'm going to replace r with 5, and I place 5 in brackets. So let me remove my brackets by multiplying. This is negative 4 by negative 3, negative 3 by negative 2, negative 9 by 5. Negative 4 by negative 3 is positive 12, negative 3 by negative 2 is positive 6, and negative 9 by positive 5 will be negative 45. So when we simplify this, we know that 12 plus 6 will give us 18. So this is 18. Subtract 45. And from our rules of signs, we know when of addition and subtraction, when the signs are different, we're going to subtract the two natural numbers. So we're going to subtract 18 from 45, which will give us 27. And the sign of the larger natural number is 45. The negative sign controls it, so that negative sign will control your 27. So you have negative 27 there as the answer for 1. Let's look at 2. We have 3 PQ plus 5 QR. So when you see PQ, that's the same as we're multiplying two quantities. That's P multiplied by Q. If we see QR, that simply means Q multiplied by R. So we have 3PQ plus 5QR. So again, we want to find the value of this algebraic expression. So we're going to replace those variables given with the numbers shown. We're going to substitute those variables with the numbers given. So this will be 3. I'm replacing P with negative 3. So I make sure negative 3 is placed within brackets. I'm replacing Q with negative 2, so I make sure negative 2 is placed within brackets. This is plus 5. I'm replacing Q with negative 2, so I make sure negative 2 is placed within brackets. And I'm replacing R with 5, so I make sure 5 is within brackets. So let's simplify. So this is 3 by negative 3 is negative 9. And negative 9 by negative 2 will be plus 18. This is 5 plus 5 by negative 2 is negative 10. And negative 10 by positive 5 will give us negative 50. Of course, to simplify that to get a value for the algebraic expression, we apply our rules of signs of addition and subtraction. You know when the signs are different, plus sign is understood in front of your 18. So when the signs are different, we subtract the two natural numbers. So 18 from 50 will give us, 32. And the sign of the larger natural number is 50. A negative sign controls it, so that negative sign will control your 32. So we have negative 32 as the answer for 2. So let's look at 3 and 4. So for 3, we have here Q, and in brackets we have P minus 3R. So we're going to replace Q, P, and R with the values of numbers given. So we're going to substitute each one of those variables with the numbers given. So we're going to replace Q with negative 2. So we don't necessarily need to replace negative 2 in brackets in this case. We don't have to. If you place it in brackets, that's okay, but you don't have to. We have our open brackets. We're going to replace P with negative 3. Of course, we're going to replace R with 5, but negative 3 is located in front of R. That's negative 3 times R. So we maintain our negative 3, and we're going to replace R with 5, but we ensure 5 is placed within brackets. Of course, close big brackets. So let's simplify. So I have my negative 2 outside my big brackets. This is negative 3. So negative 3 multiplied by 5. Remember, brackets will imply multiplication or means multiplication. So negative 3 by positive 5, a minus by a plus is a minus. 3 by 5 is 15. We can either apply the distributive law, or we can work out what we have inside of the brackets and we multiply that by negative 2. So I'm going to work out what we have inside the brackets. So it's simply negative 2. And if I have to work out negative 3, subtract 15, I know from my rules of addition and subtraction, when the signs are the same, we're going to add the two natural numbers. So 3 plus 15 is 18. And the common sign, which is the two negative signs, will control my 18. And of course, I close my brackets. So, in this case, we are multiplying negative 2 by negative 18. So if we are multiplying, we are applying our rules of multiplication, rules of signs for multiplication. So a minus by a minus is a plus. 2 by 18 will give us 36. So our answer here will be positive 36. Let's look at question 4. So question 4, so I'll erase here. So question 4, we have P, and in brackets we have 2R plus Q over QR. So of course we're going to replace all the variables shown with the numbers given. So we're going to substitute each one of those variables with the numbers shown. So I'm going to replace P with negative 3. I don't have to place negative 3 in brackets. I have my big brackets. So once I have an algebraic expression within my big brackets, and I have some variable outside, and I'm replacing this variable with a number, you wouldn't necessarily have to put it in brackets. So we can leave negative 3 as is. We have our big brackets. This is 2, and this is 2 multiplied by r. So I maintain my 2, and I'm going to replace my r with 5, which I place in brackets. And we know that's 2 multiplied by 5, right? Plus, I'm going to replace q with negative 2. So if I'm replacing q with negative 2, it is important for me to separate these two signs by placing negative 2 within brackets. And that's important to know. So when two signs coincide, you separate by the use of brackets. So I place negative 2 in brackets, so I can separate my negative from my positive sign. And of course, my closed big brackets over, this is QR, which is Q multiplied by R. So, of course, Q, it is negative 2. So you can put that in brackets. And R is 5, which you put in brackets. Which, of course, means negative 2 multiplied by 5. So let's simplify. So this is the first and very important step, which is to replace all those variables with the numbers given. So substitution. This will be negative 3, open brackets. 2 multiplied by 5 will give us 10. Let's get rid of this bracket here, of course. Positive 1 is understood after that positive sign, even though it's not seen. So positive 1 by negative 2, a plus by a minus is a minus. 1 by 2 is 2. So I remove my brackets over negative 2 by 5 is negative 10. Let me further simplify. We can apply the distributive law to multiply negative 3 by each one of the numbers within the bracket, or we can work out what we have inside of the bracket and we multiply by negative 3 outside. So I'll go that route, which is to work out what we have inside the bracket. So this is negative 3, and we know 10 minus 2 will give us 8, all over negative 10. And we further simplify negative 3 by 8. Of course, a minus by a plus is a minus. We're multiplying. So we can apply our rules of signs of multiplication. And 3 by 8 is 24 all over negative 10. We can further simplify by dividing and applying our rules of signs for division. So we know a minus divided by a minus is a plus. And we can divide 24 by 10. So we know that in simplifying, we can say 2 into 24 is 12, and 2 into 10 is 5, so we have 12 over 5. And of course, that can be further simplified. We can say 5 into 12, 5 2s are 10, remainder 2, so we get 2 and 2/5 as our answer. So let's look at some more questions for us to do together. So we have here So some important examples. In this case, we're looking at variables raised to powers. So if you have a variable raised to a power, how do we treat with such? So we want to find values of b squared, 4a squared, negative 3c cubed, plus 5b squared, and 2a squared, b squared minus 4c squared. So how we need to find the value for those algebraic expressions given that the variables are raised to powers more than 1. So simple substitutions. 1. We have b squared, so we're going to replace b with negative 3. So this will be negative 3 in bracket squared, and negative 3 in bracket squared simply means negative 3 by negative 3. Negative 3 by negative 3 is positive 9. So let's look at 2, 4a squared. And again, we replace a with 2. So this will be written as 4. We replace a with 2. So we make sure 2 is placed within brackets to separate it from our 4 in front of our a squared. So we make sure when we replace that a with 2, we put 2 in brackets raised to a power of 2. And we have to be very careful here. Students often make the mistake, they multiply 4 by 2, which is 8, then they square. You have to be very careful. You're going to treat with 2 raised to the power of 2 first. So this is the same as saying 4 times 2 by 2. So you have to work out 2 squared first. So 2 by 2 will give you 4, and 4 by 4 will give 16. So the answer will be 16. So we're not going to multiply 4 by 2, which is 8, then square. Right? That is incorrect. So let's look at 3. We have negative 3c cubed plus 5b squared. So again, we're going to replace c with 4. So we're going to simply ensure I have my negative 3. I'm replacing c with 4. So I place 4 in brackets cube plus 5. I'm replacing b with negative 3. So I have negative 3 in brackets squared. So to treat with this, we are going to not say negative 3 by 4. We are going to not multiply negative 3 by 4. We have to work out 4 cubed first, get that result, then we multiply by that result by negative 3. So this is the same as saying negative 3, 4 by 4 by 4 plus 5. And this is negative 3 squared, which is negative 3 by negative 3. So we treat with what we have in brackets raised to the given power first, and then we multiply it by any number that exists outside of the bracket. So this will be 4 by 4 is 16, and 16 by 4 will give us 64. So it's negative 3 times 64, and this is plus 5. Negative 3 by negative 3 is positive 9. So negative 3 by 64, a minus by a plus is a minus. And 3 by 64 will give us 3 by 4 is 12. 6 3s are 18, plus 1 is 19. So we have negative 192, and positive 5 by 9. A plus by a plus sign is on the certain point of 9 will give us a plus. 9 5s are 45. So negative 192 plus 45. So in this case, we are applying our rules of addition and subtraction. So when the signs are different, we subtract the two natural numbers. So 45 from 192 will give us 147. And the sign of the larger natural number, of course, is 192. A negative sign controls that 192, so that negative sign controls your 147. Yeah? And that there will be our result for 3. Let's look at question 4. We have 2a squared b squared minus 4c squared. So again, we're going to replace all those variables with the numbers given. So this is 2. I'm going to replace a with 2 in brackets raised to the power of 2, I'm going to replace b with negative 3 in brackets, raised to the power of 2, and I'm going to replace c with 4. So I have my negative 4, and I'm replacing c with 4 in brackets raised to the power of 2. So we're going to treat with all the variables raised to powers first. And when we get our result, then we can multiply by our 2 which exists outside. So this is the same as saying 2 by 2, that's negative 3 by negative 3. And this is minus 4, that's 4 by 4. So we know that this is the same as 2 by 2 is 4, so this is 2. 4 in brackets, doing it step by step. Negative 3 by negative 3 is positive 9. And this is negative 4. And in brackets, 4 by 4 is 16. So we're going to get here 2 by 4 is 8. And 9 by 8 will give us 72. And negative 4 by positive 16 will give us negative 64. And 64 from 72, that will give us 8. So the answer for question 4 is 8. So we have this special question. Please make sure you pay attention to my lives. I'm going to be having some lives very soon, and when you pay attention to my live, I'm going to give some information regarding my special questions. So make sure you pay attention to the video, make sure you look at this video and pay attention to information given regarding special questions. Prizes can be won. So with that said, take care and see you in the next video.